last thing I want to ask is, Mr. Jibril, you've been in Ghana, you witnessed the election. What was your impression of the whole process?
Yes, thanks for the opportunity, Alfred. I think before I respond directly to your question, I want to make a correction. I don't believe that this is going to be the first time that a government will be having a minority in parliament, because based on what we know and the results of the just ended election, I feel, and I'm very strongly so, that when the true will of the people is declared, there is going to be a winner, and that winner will have a majority in parliament, very slim majority, by the way. Yeah, so I was in Ghana, I observed the elections, and my overall impression about the election is that it has not been fair and transparent as expected of Ghana. Elections are generally not an event. So to say that an election is a free and fair election, it's not an event. It's not this is what happens on December 7th alone that defines whether the election was free and fair. An election is a process. The processes leading to the election, the registration of voters, disenfranchisement of people, decisions that were made on December 6th, for example, disenfranchising the people of certain parts of the Volta and OT regions from voting. The actual election day, the apparent intimidation, attempt to intimidate voters in the opposition NDC strongholds so that people will be afraid of military presence and not come out, especially in the Ketu North and Ketu South constituencies where I operated mostly. And the rather opaque collation process, which the international observer groups, the European Union Observer Group in particular, has described the collation of this year's election result as being very non-transparent, very opaque. And the subsequent fraudulent, flawed declarations, mathematical inaccuracies, in fact, in declarations and all that, shows that the election was not free, wasn't fair, and it was premeditated, calculated to favor a particular candidate, and that's what has happened. That's my observation, and I think that aligns with the observations of majority of Ghanaians and observer, groups.
Ask the same question of you, Mr. Kosi. We stayed in the United States and witnessed the election from here. What is your general characterization of the election as well?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Muzu, for having us this evening. From our vantage point, it seems like, from what I heard Mr. Jibril talk about, seemed to be very similar to what we saw. From my vantage point, it wasn't a surprise. Everything that happened, none of it surprised me, because I have followed very closely the elections in the West African sub-region, and I used to think that what happened in Ghana was the exclusive right, or the exclusive, club, that Francophone countries in West Africa had monopoly upon. And the fact that actually has come into the dear country of Ghana that we loved terrifies me. Mr. Jibril said a bunch of them. Leading up to the election, the registration, the fact that within a very short period, this government decided that they would conduct a registration exercise. And then the intimidation processes that they put different groups through, particularly Voltarians and some of our northern brothers and sisters, showed us what was to come. And then on the election day, we saw the intimidations that went on, the killings, etc. And if you allow me, I would go back a couple of years. 2018. In 2018, we all know Akufo-Addo decided that the 10 regions in Ghana were not enough and needed to create another 6. Well, of course, one of those was our dear Volta region. Forget the fact that there were bigger regions in size than the Volta region. Ours had to be divided. Right. And the processes, we of One Volta, and I have to say I am the chairman of the One Volta group in the diaspora. I am basically, I would like to caveat that I am today represent myself. But just to go back a little bit to tell you that, that what happened we knew from the very onset, they had to do it in such a way that only the people requesting the division could take part in the vote. It went on from there to intimidation and EC keeping things away. We had to go to court several times, to the Supreme Court. In the end, it was a rigged election. It was totally rigged, and I hope I get a chance to go into details about how they did that system. And so when we got to this 2020 election, as we got to it, I actually alerted the opposition party and told them that the playbook they had used to rig the referendum in dividing the Volta region was the same one they were going to use in 2020. And lo and behold, we saw everything, A to Z. That movie was not a new one. We had seen it before.